It's the Royal Rumble weekend! But yes, that's right, my friends. It's too much. This was too much. I need to tone it back down. Keeping the jacket, it's all spangly. Anyway, yes, as I have just said, we are but hours away from the Royal Rumble, so it's time to look over SmackDown, the show that WWE just put on to get you more pumped about that pay-per-view. And I'm not going to lie, it was one of the craziest things, especially the last 45 minutes, that we have seen in a long old while. But does that mean it's good, or does it mean it's bad? There's only one way to find out. Let's take this, the finger of power, and give the good bits up and the bad bits are down when it comes to the latest edition of WWE SmackDown. Alright, so Daniel Bryan is either winning the Royal Rumble or we are being massively trolled, because he was out here to kick off SmackDown and he essentially said, oh hi there, my name's Daniel Bryan, I've never won the Royal Rumble. Look at all my accolades and look what's missing. That's right, it's the Royal Rumble. Oh hello Mr. Royal Rumble, I would like to win you. So if he doesn't win it now, I'm going to cry. But still, I love Daniel Bryan. He cuts a good promo up. I'm also desperate for him to win, so it must have done something right. And he's also as prepared as he possibly can be, because he's been going to the Alpha Academy where Chad Gable and Otis have been helping him with his hips, and so that he can thrust people over the top rope. I mean, it's a pretty good strategy. He was getting all fired up too before he was interrupted by AJ Styles. And yes, of course, that would be AJ Styles from Monday Night Raw. Thankfully, Omos did have an explanation for all of this, because AJ is here courtesy of the Brand to Brand Invitational. Are you kidding me? Do you know when the last time the Brand to Brand Invitational was mentioned on television? The year 1412. I don't know. But the point is, you can't just do this. Imagine a fan had started watching in January 2021. They're going to be baffled. Like, I don't remember hearing anything about a Brand for Brand Invitational, and then they're going to go on that old Google machine, they're going to type in WWE Brand for Brand Invitational, and it's going to say the last one was back in 1412, and then they're going to be even more baffled. I understand that you had a plan, but you got to come up with better ideas than this, or can you believe it, just kill the flipping brand split, take it out of the back, and put a bullet in its head. As you can tell, I don't like it when WWE does this. I probably need to get a real problem, but down. Now the best part is that Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles agreed to have a match, and I'm never going to get mad about that. But also, AJ has started acting as if he's the Royal Rumble gatekeeper, so please, WWE, really, look, I'm kind of down on my knees. Every year, I want AJ Styles to say, if you want to be in the Royal Rumble, you have to beat me. It's very important. It has become great. It doesn't have to make sense either. A lot of stuff on WWE TV doesn't make sense. But this was very good. You know, two top tier guys looking at each other like, oh, I'm gonna beat you in a match. Even though it didn't have much logic. But who needs logic? Potato. Kayla Braxton was then clearly told to repeat the phrase Brand to Brand Invitational, as we just pretended that it's a thing. It'd be me coming on here with hair and being like, Miller, what happened to your hair? Be like, wait, I've always had long hair. What's your problem? But forget all that, because she was chatting to Bayley, and Bales was over the moon because last week during their obstacle course, she had hurt Bianca Belair's shoulder, which is absolutely going to assist her in around about 32 seconds, because we are actually getting Bianca Belair versus Bayley. And admittedly, that kind of came out of nowhere, but do you want to know why I don't care? Because they had a good match, and Bianca Belair won. These two are just so good, and the first thing I want to mention is that if WWE doesn't have major plans for Bianca Belair, then they have lost their minds, because she's just ticking every single box at the moment. And while Bayley was working over her arm for a little bit, when Bianca started to get back into the match, I was sat on my sofa going, go Est, get him Est! I remembered it was EST, and I kind of felt stupid. There was a great near fall after Bayley hit her top rope elbow drop, and they kind of traded the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, which means they were just doing cradle, cradle, pin, pin. I'm trying to beat you when I can't. But then Bianca Belair just punched Bayley in the face, and there was no gaga, there was no shenanigans, there was no nonsense. She just smashed her with the KOD and got the 1, 2, 3, and I felt brilliant right there in my tum-tum. So yeah, let's do more like this. It just works, if you can believe it. Although I did have a minor freak out, because I was like, wait a minute. Maybe she's beaten Bayley here because she's not going to win the Royal Rumble. And if you've been watching any of my videos recently, you know I want Bianca Belair to win the Rumble. And it could get even worse, because Bayley could get her revenge by eliminating Bianca, and then we're just back to 50-50 town. I don't like 50-50 town. You're never really happy and you're never really sad. But let's wait and see what the future holds, because you never know. And also afterwards, Bianca cut a great promo where she genuinely made it seem like she just had a career-defining win. All of this was fabbo. We also saw Cesaro approach AJ Styles in the back, so it was like, what was all that was about? Especially because it tied into the commentator telling us 100% our main event this evening is going to be AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. So your intrigue eyebrow goes up. And it was then Baron Corbin versus Dominik Mysterio round 2. So I was like, okay, well this week surely Dommy Boy has listened to his dad and maybe he's actually going to come out the other end as the victor. That didn't happen, but still good. Up. I am starting to worry, however, that the Knights of the Lone Wolf have fallen into that black hole that so far in 2021 it's taken Keith Lee, it's taken Buddy Murphy, it's taken Triple H, it's taken Aleister Black, it's taken Mojo Rawley. Because where the hell did they go? And as ever, nobody mentions them as if they were murdered and then just buried under the ring. Dom was far more aggressive this week because he attacked Baron Corbin before the bell had even begun, and then Rey Mysterio was on commentary telling us that he had talked to his son, but unfortunately he's ashamed of his offspring because he's still not listening. So when Baron was beating up Dominik, Rey was all like, son, I told you to put your hands up, what are you doing? And I was like, wait a minute, Rey, you've never put your hands up in your life. When you were getting beat up, you did like a whoop-de-doo-dah, tipsy-turvy, spinny 690, and that's how you got back in control. Baron caught him off the 619 for the second week in a row, so come on, Dominik, you got to get better at that one. Although he did make me think he was going to win after hitting a massive DDT. But actually, he was nowhere close, and then Corbin kind of threw him into the ropes and hit an end of days. 1, 2, 3, he now up 2-0. Rey Mysterio, you need to give your son better advice. Or at least he needs to start listening better. Afterwards, Rey and Baron did go on it with Rey getting the upper hand, and this has led me to believe that maybe it's the Mysterios that chuck Baron Corbin out of the Rumble, because once again, we gotta go to 50-50, I'm not singing, 50-50 town. Otherwise, I like this whole feud, it's just nice and simple, and it makes sense. Dominik, after all, is the rookie. Also, if you do that Rumble thing, then Buddy Murphy can make his return and just rip out Baron Corbin's eye, because that's what he likes to do. We then just had a bunch of madness in the back, because we learned that Adam Pearce is off this week, even though he appeared on Raw, but don't say anything, given everything that happened on last SmackDown. So Sonya Deville is now in charge, because of course last week, with our pal, magically she just took on that position. Anyway, Big E was here before he got interrupted by The Miz and John Morrison, because brand to brand invitational. John Morrison did have a good line when he mentioned he's about to get really rich from the stock market thanks to everything going on with GameStop, and keep fighting the good fight Reddit, don't let them back you down. And then the long and the short of it is that Miz and Morrison said the wrong thing to Big E, so Big E beat him up. This was incredibly random, but I just like Big E so much, the stuff that comes out of his mouth, it is genuinely funny. But I did then think, wait a minute, does this mean Big E and The Miz are now feuding, and that maybe The Miz is going to cash in his briefcase on Big E and win the Intercontinental title? And then I took another step and said, well, maybe you could do that in the Royal Rumble and then do something we've never done at that pay-per-view. So there's another crazy ass prediction, just in case it does happen. The Miz will cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Big E during the Royal Rumble to win the Intercontinental title. I don't deserve to be alive. Reginald was then giving Sasha Banks some wine, and she pretended to flirt with him and said, hey, maybe I can hire you so you can buy me some wine that I can give to Carmella after I break her jaw. Point is, it is going to be Carmella versus Sasha Banks at the Royal Rumble for the women's title. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't really understand why, at TLC, Sasha just whooped her ass. Sami Zayn is also still making his documentary too, and let's make this very clear. I want this to go on the WWE Network, and when I watch it, I want it to be the most biased thing I've ever seen in my life. That is worth my $9.99. He was basically in manipulator mode here as he was talking to old friend Shinsuke Nakamura, being like, Shinsuke, look how well Cesaro's doing without you. That doesn't seem very nice. Why don't you get back on my team and we can go after the Intercontinental title? And Shinsuke thought about it and went, Sammy, go to hell. And for some reason, because I'm crazy, that really made me laugh. We then went old school, kind of, because we were having the big confrontation between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, but because they hate each other so much, KO was in one room, Roman was in another, so they did that thing where they put a line down the screen and they talked to each other, but they are just so good at all of this, they get it up. Owens started by saying that in his mind, he's already beaten Roman Reigns twice because it wasn't for his stupid family and stupid Jey Uso, he would have got the victory, and Paul Heyman couldn't handle that at all, and he melted down saying, you don't disrespect Roman Reigns like that. Roman was all cool, Roman, that's just what he does. But he did want to know more about Kevin's own family. Now, this did get under Kevin Owens' skin a little bit, and he said, look, I'm not going to fall for your games, Roman. But then Reigns made it very clear that Kevin Owens' dad must be a fool because Kevin Owens is a fool, and therefore, because they're both fools, Granddaddy Kevin Owens surely was a fool as well. I was like, man, this is not going to end well. So Roman was doing his family mathematics quite well, and then 99% sure that Roman insinuated he was going to kill KO. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe I misunderstood what came out of his mouth. But he was like, listen, Kevin, you still don't understand, but you will do when you meet up with your granddads again. And I thought his granddad had passed away. So it's essentially Roman going, I'm going to kill you, and in the afterlife, you will finally learn a life lesson. This guy, not around, is he? No chairs. Is just nuts. Owens fired back that Roman was nothing more than a second-rate mob boss, and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody get him a chair and put him in the right place at the table, otherwise who knows what's going to go down. And it annoyed Reigns so much, he got a controller and he turned off his side of the TV. I was like, what a child, what a baby. It's like when you used to play on old video game machines and you used to have to plug the controller in, wireless didn't exist, and when you were losing, you just pulled it out and then you won. Like you got any kind of victory. Also said Kevin Owens mad and he stormed off, but honestly, what a great segment. I can't wait to see this match. They get one of my stupid round of applauses. It is just good professional wrestling. Had a cool video promoting Drew McIntyre and Goldberg at the Royal Rumble for the WWE title, which did make you think it was the biggest thing you've ever seen in your life. And then thankfully, Sheamus won the match between AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. I promised myself I wouldn't laugh, but that's what happened. The winner of Styles versus Bryan was Sheamus. Everybody sit down. We have a lot to talk about. Now look, when it was just AJ versus Daniel, this was absolutely brilliant. It's just so good to watch. You'd be hard pushed to find better professional wrestlers than these two guys. They just know what they're doing. They lay all their stuff in. I will be sad when they are no longer in a ring. They get it up. But then from nowhere, halfway through, out came Sami Zayn, who had decided to protest. And I should also mention from the start of this, Cesaro was on commentary. Big E then gave it around about 3 to 4 to 5 minutes, went, you know what, if they're out there, I'll go out there too. So out he came. He then got into it with Cesaro, so started to beat up the Swiss Superman and Sami Zayn. And then for some reason, Sami Zayn got in the ring and he attacked Daniel Bryan. So the referee called for the DQ. And I actually went, what the flub is going on? This then turned into a massive brawl with Shinsuke Nakamura deciding, well, I want to be out there. And then he was going to have a face-off with Cesaro. But then Sami Zayn attacked again. And then magically Sonya Deville went, well, look, if everybody's out there, we're going to restart this. But now it's going to be a 6-man tag. And if you think, well, that sounds quite good, that's it. Well, no, you're wrong again, because then around about 5 minutes later, maybe even 10, out came Miz and Morrison, and they caused another DQ, and I was dying. I was like, if you wanted to have this big tag team match, why didn't you just set it up to begin with? This was just like being slapped in the head over again, and you miss one, then another one comes in and hits you there. Also, of course, we have to bring down the DQ board. That's 2 in a row, because the Miz and Morrison caused another, so it goes up to 8. You know how I feel about this, and also, I don't like it when you get match, change, match, and we're not even done, so down. Now, a really good bit is that it was Otis who came out to make the save, which made perfect sense because it was the Miz that screwed his life up, so I did enjoy that. And now, and I'm going to get this wrong because it's too hard to keep up, I'm going to have to stop and go and look at names, but it was Otis and Daniel Bryan and Big E and Nakamura taking on Styles, Sami Zayn, Miz and Morrison, and Cesaro, because it was 5 on 4. Is that right? I don't even know. And then we had the best bit of all, because when Daniel Bryan was going to make a tag, but realized, oh no, I don't have anyone in my corner, because the bad guys are beating all the good guys up, all of a sudden Sheamus' music hit, and he just went down, and magically, he was in the match. I was in pain. None of this made any sense. It was so strange, but secretly I loved it, because wrestling, especially WWE, is just nuts. And was I bored? No, I was not. But you absolutely could have done this a better way. I mean, it was the equivalent of when you give a child some spaghetti, you leave the room for 30 seconds, you come back in, there's just spaghetti over the floor and meat sauce, that's all on the walls. You're like, well, what was I thinking? Why did I give a child spaghetti? This may have been the best thing ever. I'm also pretty sure that we broke all the rules of the Brand to Brand Invitational, but who can keep up? And then, yeah, Sheamus, I'm done, I'm out. But Sheamus bro kicked Sami Zayn, meaning that he won AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. This was fantastic. Everybody go and watch it. Don't worry about sense or anything like that. Just enjoy the sheer ludicrous nature. Oh man, I was sports entertained. And we weren't even done. Somehow there was more. Like WWE had looked at their SmackDown ideas book and turned it round and it said expiry date right now. So like, oh no, quick, let's do all the ideas. Because then everybody was beating up the good guys or something and we got Raw! And out came Braun Strowman, who has now returned, even though you could have done his return a day later, 2 days later at the Royal Rumble. He beat everyone up. He looked great. He gave everyone running power slams, of course. Then he ended by going, "Rah!" by looking into the camera. And then I laid down and I pondered whether I was ever going to watch wrestling again because I had no energy left. And look, I really did enjoy myself because it was incredibly chaotic. And of course, they did it to go, oh, it's Royal Rumble season. Look how many people are in the ring. But we've got to do this. We're giving it an up because I had the best time of my life. But we're also going to give it a down because I don't like it when you have one match, like I've just said, and it transitions to another one, and then here it transitioned into something else. Just start with the original match, or mostly WWE has just done this too much. But I'm not crapping on it or anything like that before you go nuts. It was hilarious. It was brilliant. What an absolutely different episode of SmackDown. And because of all that, I'm giving it an up overall. I know it's a controversial one, but again, if I leave feeling this good down here again in my tum-tum, I'm just gonna go with it. Even if you can pick holes in it and just say, where's Braun Strowman even been? He's been suspended, but he decided, well, I got 2 minutes left on the go-home show to SmackDown. I'm gonna return right now. And of course, don't forget to let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Get in those comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. It's right there and it's free. WhatCulture.com will keep you up to date with everything WWE and all wrestling. Search for WhatCulture on social media, give us a follow, and watch more videos here on YouTube, including on Monday, when we up those downs for the Rumble. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching me as always. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Royal Rumble even without fans. It's the best stipulation there is. And I will see you soon.